This right here before you is a Cardano monthly chart. And what I want to do is show this chart and frame it into this whole idea that Cardano's doing exactly what it needs to be doing, and that all of this stuff that we're dealing with on a daily or a weekly basis of Cardano wicking downwards to 50 cents or new tariffs or all this other garbage, in the end, none of it is going to matter. You can see here today, Cardano has wicked right back above, or is like, this is the monthly candle. The candle is closing above this bull market support band. And in my opinion, what we're looking at is February is going to close above this bull market support band. Maybe March is going to hold here. Maybe April, May. One of these months is going to hold above and rocket up. And this is a nice, good area of support. And so why in the world are we even worrying? And this idea ties really into the newsletter I put out this week of like, you have two paths. You have two paths that you're going to go on this crypto journey. You can be somebody who does something every day. You can be a meme coin trader, you can be an NFT trader, you can be an ultimate day trader, you can be all this stuff. Or you can make almost just as much money by doing literally nothing, looking at your portfolio for like an hour a week, making good decisions based on good research and good tokenomics and good fundamentals, everything we talk about in the Crypto 100X blueprint. And at the end of the day, you're still going to make more money than you could ever imagine, right? And so this is what Cardano is doing today. And if you change this monthly view and you change it to like a daily view, it is really tough. It's like really hard. It's like, wow, look at that. Look at Cardano did that. It went from $1.30 to 50 cents to now back at 80 cents, right? That is shocking. That's so much. What is going to happen, right? If you were here the past 2 weeks, you know that that's all people are doing. And I feel like this video is so important for me to make because people are confused, right? They're like confused. They're curious. They're like a little cautious. There's a lot of uncertainty. I see it when I look at Ethereum-based tweets, Solana-based tweets, HBAR, XRP. I saw someone say XRP is going to 100. Like, people are just all over the place. And so in the Cardano community, I can see people starting to slowly like lose that faith or like lose that position of like, okay, can we get to the all-time high? This was kind of prevalent in mid to late 2024. It's like, okay, like when are we going to get back to $1, right? In September of 2024, it was kind of like that. And then November, it went and happened. Now, I say all that because I'm feeling the same things today. And I know if I'm feeling it, I'm feeling that similar correlation to when Cardano was at like 30 or 40 cents in mid, Q3 2024, and people were like, well, Cardano's never really going to come back, and then it did. I'm feeling the same emotions I did back then as I do now. And the best thing is that if you take this daily chart or even this weekly chart where this looks catastrophic, right? That looks catastrophic. If you simply just adjust your horizon and your timeline to the monthly chart, it looks like nothing has even happened, right? And so instead, what I highly urge everyone watching this video to do is, I know we do look at daily and we do look at weekly charts because it's fun, it's exciting, it's interesting to kind of see and predict where things are going to go. And like this was a big move. Falling below the weekly bull market support band was a big move. But look, this week we are back above it. Like, that's so powerful how quickly that can happen and how these supports can hold like that. But what I highly suggest everyone to do is when you get into these areas or when we have these harder times in crypto, is to simply zoom it way out. Now, I don't know about you, but I invested in Cardano because I was, when I joined crypto, I was looking at Bitcoin and I was like, well, Bitcoin's already done a lot of return. I definitely want a little bit more risk. Bitcoin doesn't have the usability that some of the new chains have. And then I was looking at Ethereum and it seemed really expensive, right? Gas seemed really expensive back when I joined. And I was like, Ethereum's cool. There's a lot of good things going on with it, but it's really expensive. And I don't have the ability. Back then, I didn't have the ability to pay gas fees and like burn all this money if the investment wasn't going to work. And so I'm glad I didn't do that Ethereum thing back then. Now I'm more a part of the Ethereum ecosystem and it's okay. But I never still today actively like invest in Ethereum DeFi or trade or do transactions because of that gas system. All of this, all the fundamentals and all the tokenomics research I did on other chains led me to Cardano because of what it had value-wise, right? And I still believe that value is some of the most important things that you can have as a company, as a business, as a blockchain, as an investment, right? At the base level, you have to have a very good sense of value, which is what I see in Cardano. And I know every day there's little arguments, right? Little intersect budget, little Charles Hoskinson said something, this meme coin rugged, and these influencers are arguing, right? But at the end of the day, none of that really matters. So as much as people want to say in the immediate term, okay? And it doesn't affect price as much as we want to say either. But when you zoom it out to this monthly chart, all of that kind of drifts away. Now, the reason that Cardano kind of had this week here, one of the big reasons I would contribute this weekly pump for Cardano is that Greyscale has filed the ADA ETF. And so we might see other brokers file an ADA ETF, but ADA has that institutional interest. It has that interest from big parties, and that kind of drove some hype, especially as Bitcoin fell to like 95,000 this week. Cardano did not fall. Cardano has been very counter to the market this week, which I think is very good for Cardano. And I think that Grayscale news helped a bit. And so the interesting thing is how we have these charts, but we also have the news, and they're not correlated, but somehow they always kind of come together. And so even the Grayscale news, which is good news, is just noise. And you can prove that it's just noise when you come out here to the monthly chart. A lot of my comments lately, a lot of my DMs are like, well, what do you think about Cardano? It's not really doing much. It's like Cardano's dead, or like Cardano's, it's not rising as fast as XRP. It's not rising as fast as HBAR. Well, then go buy XRP and HBAR, right? The reason why I hold ADA and I don't hold XRP or HBAR is because XRP is not an ecosystem, right? It is for bank remittance payments, and that doesn't interest me. I don't think that interests me very much. I also don't like the escrow account. I also don't like the node structure. There's a lot I don't like, or I think is not as good for a retail investor like myself. Yeah, I think people still make money on XRP. They have. All 2025, they made money, right? Same with HBAR. People have made money all 2025, just like they made money in Cardano all 2025, right? See, this is 2024, and this is 2025. It's higher, right? They've made money. And so the thing about HBAR is it's not as decentralized. It has not as big of an ecosystem as Cardano. It has those companies controlling it, deciding like staking rewards and stuff like that. And so these other coins are doing good, but Cardano is doing just as good. And if you simply take time to zoom it out, you can see how we put in a bottom back here in June 2023, man. And we have not revisited this bottom since. This was the signal 100% bottom for Cardano in this bear market that we previously just had. And we are slowly rising outwards to a new all-time high. The big question I think on people's minds is, does Cardano get above $3? And how long does that take, or when does it happen? Now, I've done my fair share of tossing out some speculations on what can happen or how it can happen. And, I really wish that January and February would have been like last cycle's January and February. But it seems like this cycle is getting pushed off by a month or two, right, compared to 2021. And I actually think this cycle, this 2024-2025 cycle that we're in is much more similar to the 2020 or 2017 cycle. And I can show you that real quick. This is Bitcoin. And when you just take this zoomed out monthly view on Bitcoin and all the Bitcoin cycles, you can see how 2017 and its triple rise up, like triple retracement. See, 1 retracement, 2 retracement, 3 retracement is very similar to what we have here today. 1, 2, 3. And so the question for me is, this 2025 bull market is not as similar to like this 2021 version of it. It looks a lot more like this 2017 version of it. And so if that were to be the case, you could argue that maybe the same thing is going to happen, where April, May, June is like that big catalyst for the real alt season to really start kicking off. You see things like Bitcoin really started to crank up back then, and we can even see kind of, maybe we can check out Bitcoin dominance and see what that was like back then. I don't know if they actually track that so much back in the day, but yes, you can see right here, this is that same period of time. April 2017, May 2017, June, July, August. You can see Bitcoin dominance dropping drastically on the monthly chart. And so that could be a similar play out to what we have this cycle as back in 2017. ADA also seems like it might be doing the same thing. If we kind of have that idea that this cycle is scooting over a couple months. So instead of having this January, February, March, mostly January, February, where Cardano did really well, maybe it's like, well, maybe it shifts over and it is April, May, or March, April, May, something like that. And this is really interesting of an idea because it's aligning up with a couple things. One, it's aligning up with this up-down pennant that we've been kind of watching over the last couple months. And you can see we have this massive rally, 3 downwards wicks, right? Massive rally, 3 downwards wicks, and then a continuation. Maybe March becomes our deciding month of where we're going to go. Are we going to continue upwards out of the pennant? Is March going to be a sideways and April continues up? Like, what happens? I'm not 100% sure. But what I do know is that when you zoom out and you look at this chart from this perspective, you cannot say Cardano is not going upwards, and you cannot say that is dying off, right? The big things I would want to watch if I were you is the same things we've been talking about. Is you want to watch this area between like 65 and 80 cents for ADA. Watch this bull market support band, the support level, which right now Cardano is closing above for February, right? We got 15 days in February left. We can see what happens and then what happens in March. But the big things happening in March is the FOMC meeting, March 18th, and then that could line up with this idea that the summer, April, May, June, altcoins really start to rise and Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance itself would slowly start to fall away. I'm still a believer in Cardano. I still think there's a lot of good things going for it in this chain. And I just want to make this video to remind people that on days and weeks and months that are just like weird and uncertain, like that's all that's happening right now is like that the Trump administration said they're going to do tariffs and now they're not going to do tariffs. And now like they were going to ban TikTok, but now they didn't ban TikTok. And now Elon Musk is like in the White House a lot. And so it's just very confusing what is happening. And the market does not like that confusion. And so the big question is inflation coming back? Are we going to have to raise interest rates because inflation's coming back because they made tariffs and now that's causing downstream inflation? Or like what in the world is even happening? And so I think there's a lot of confusion. I think that 2025 is going to be a year of chaos. And if you are not able to let the chaos roll and let the charts roll and let the Cardano price roll, you might struggle this year. And so the big thing in this video is you got to chill out. You got to let these things play out. And on the long term, Cardano is going up. And we have no reason to believe that the cycle does not continue. The altcoin cycle does not continue. Cardano does not go up to its all-time high. Even I saw a really, really good post on Twitter. This one right here. Let me show you. This Twitter post, it's on my profile. You can go find it. It was really, really awesome. But the chart that had my biggest interest was this one right here. And this guy says, what is alt season? Crypto moves in a Bitcoin season, in an altcoin season, Bitcoin dominance during rises in Bitcoin season, Bitcoin dominance drops in altcoin season. But how do we tell like which one we're in and what is going to happen? And do we need quantitative easing to get the altcoin cycle? Well, the answer is no. We don't need altcoin season we don't need quantitative easing for altcoin season to happen. You can see this piece playing out is that Bitcoin dominance, this is Bitcoin dominance, is hitting its old trend line, right? And so will Bitcoin dominance rapidly fall off a cliff? But they're essentially saying that this is this massive trend line that Bitcoin dominance is running against. Now, yeah, trend lines can be speculative. I'm not 100% sure if this is an accurate representation of where the best ways to look are, but maybe on a weekly chart, it looks a little bit cleaner. But Bitcoin dominance is running into these areas. And the big question is, does it reverse now? Was that 64% dominance that it put out here, like the max pain, the max capitulation? It seems like we kind of get one of those max wicks last cycles as well. So that's the first thing to look at. The second big thing that this tweet talked about that I really enjoyed was that quantitative easing does not always correlate to the bull market. Now you can see here in 2020 and 2021, quantitative easing is this blue box, and that was when our bull market happened, right? You can see that. But then quantitative tightening was between 2017 and 2019. And you can see here, we had an altcoin season at the very top of the Bitcoin cycle during quantitative tightening. Even today, from 2022 to now, we have been in a quantitative tightening cycle, And really, a lot of people have made a lot of money in the crypto bull market. Bitcoin has made a lot of money. Ethereum's doubled or tripled. Cardano at this point has maybe, I mean, it's like a double, 2.5x from 30 to 80. But Cardano was up to a dollar and a half, a dollar 30. And so people are making quite a bit of money. And I think that the big thing that you have to remember is that if we don't get quantitative easing very soon, it might just make the cycle a little bit harder to navigate, but we are still going upwards. Everything's still going upwards. And there's still people like you and me who see the value in this stuff, that it is worth an investment for them, even when things are not easy. And if you want to make a lot of money in crypto, you have to do things when it's not easy. You have to have counter ideas, and you got to invest before everyone else. But the big thing in this video I want to talk about is how, yeah, it might be weird, it might be hard, but somehow, some way, Cardano always continues to revive, stay above bull market support band, stay above support, and it is following exactly what it has done last cycle. Okay, let me know in the comments if you agree. If you're still watching the video, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I really hope to see you in the next one for more Cardano content.